currently Director of Business Development for Affinity Health Group and Vantage Healthcare, and is a registered financial consultant. Raised in Northeast Louisiana, attended ULM, graduated with degrees in accounting and an MBA, and also a graduate of Leadership Louisiana. When I was talking with Michael about bringing the Nexus back online, he mentioned to me that he was involved with the historic preservation for Monroe and similar organizations, right? And what I'm looking at right here is that Michael was formerly a commissioner of historic preservation for Monroe, past president for the Monroe Kiwanis, past chairman for the Northeast Louisiana Arts Council, past president for the Garden District Neighborhood Alliance. Michael currently serves on the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry Healthcare Task Force as a board member of Downtown Monroe Renaissance, a board member of the Northeast Louisiana Film Commission, treasurer of the Twin City Art Foundation, and vice chair of the PSC National Educational Foundation. Michael is obviously very involved in our community. And so I want to thank you, Michael, for coming out, and I want to thank you for coming out. We're very aware that 7 o'clock at night is probably not the best time. We're very aware that parking is a real issue, or at least an imaginary issue. And we're trying to find ways of communicating that to people so that in the future, when we have Nexus events, they'll be more comfortable coming down and parking and walking through the opportunity to get here. So I want to thank Randy, big time, and Eamson for positioning us so that we could use the palace. I love this building. And with that, we have Michael.
You'll notice my page is blank on both sides. I'm hoping to gather enough information from you as we go through this process, because as I understand it, we're supposed to exchange. The Nexus is some type of cultural, art, philosophical thinking, down home, grassroots effort, and all of that and so much more. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I've been trying to do downtown and what so many other people are doing downtown, because this isn't just a one-man show. This is a 100-man, woman, everybody in between show. So before I do that, I want to preface how I got into historic preservation. I was raised in Morehouse Parish. I can remember going to museums as a young person, so that was my first exposure to seeing old stuff, stuck on a shelf somewhere or an old building, going to Civil War sites out in Vicksburg and other places, and it always sort of intrigued me going to that and seeing those things, but I never really knew why. And if you don't know me personally, I'm a pretty impulsive person. I make very rapid decisions, and I will follow through with those decisions, right or wrong, for my own fault. The way I got into historic preservation was I was looking for a house when I just finished college, and I wanted something that was a fixer-upper because, you get out of college, you don't have a lot of money. And so I went and looked at an old house in the Garden District. It was right at 100 years old. And my realtor said, they just reduced the price. Are you interested? I said, yes, make an offer right now. And I gave them an offer within the next day or two. I had a contract signed. Everything was ready to go. Well, I fixed that house up. I did a lot of work. Made it as cool as I think I could make it. And I sold that house. It made about $70,000 or $80,000. And I thought, wow, there's money in historic preservation. This is great. Well, after I sold that house, I really didn't have another house to go to. So I started, the day I actually sold my house, I'm just going to move into an apartment. I'd already rented a storage unit to move my stuff into, and I was dating a girl at the time who's now my wife. And after I left the closing, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. The moving truck's showing up in the morning. And so we looked in the Garden District again, and there was this another old historic house, and I went to see it, and I said, I love it. I said, make an offer contingent upon me being able to move in tomorrow morning. Because it was empty. Nobody was in there. It was just a vacant home. Well, lo and behold, I ended up getting the house. I moved in the next morning and have been trying to restore that historic home ever since. My segue into commercial real estate and buying historic buildings in downtown Monroe was me bored on a Saturday morning, walking downtown in my shorts at the spring day, and I see a guy, and the door was open in his old building that was sort of boarded up and had broken windows. They looked really, really bad, full of junk. And so I walk in the door and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm selling this stuff. I said, well, how much do you want for it? He said, make me an offer. I said, well, I'm going to embarrass you. He said, well, make me an offer. So I said, all right. And there were some pieces of marble and granite. And I said, $20. He said, $25 and it's yours. And I thought, wow, this guy's really going to deal with me today. I said, what are you going to do with the buildings? He said, I'm going to sell it. I said, how much? He said, make me an offer. I said, well, I'm going to embarrass you. So I threw out a number, and he said, can you give me $5,000 more? I said, you'll lock all the doors, the 3 buildings. He said, you'll lock the doors and give me the keys, and I'll give you a check on one of the buildings. He said, done. So impulsive decisions push me into historic preservation, but I don't regret any of those impulsive decisions. I've had many, many more throughout my lifetime. But I own about 6 buildings in downtown Monroe. Of the 6, I've restored 3. 2 are under construction, and 1 is sort of my place where I store stuff from all my other little projects. So that's my historic preservation. I'm the president of Louisiana Trust for Historic Preservation, so we do advocacy across the state for historic preservation. But I'm going to take you now downtown, so Hope, if you want to move us on to slide 2, and I'm going to have to look back. If you'll remember back into yesteryear of downtown Monroe, and some of you are too young to probably remember this, and some of you may be so old you've forgotten. But this is some of the architecture you would see in downtown Monroe in the 1920s. A beautiful place, the center, the hub of all business activity in northeast Louisiana. Some of the properties we have down here, like the Francis Hotel behind us, which again was a mecca for people coming in and out, as I understand it, to come to big ballroom events, and it was the center of the South for entertainment purposes. There were many, many structures like this in downtown Monroe. If you fast forward a little bit, and maybe go to the next slide, that has changed dramatically. You see it in the state as it's in today. It's actually come a long, long way just in the last couple of years with people making investments. And tonight what I was going to talk just a little bit about some of the things that are happening downtown, if you didn't know about those, and other things that may be coming in the future, and groups that are working on trying to improve what's happening right now. Now, each and every month, every other month, the Downtown Gallery Association, the Monroe Arts Alliance, I believe, they're having their gallery crawls, and that's on a Thursday. I can't tell you the exact date that they do it, but it's one of the first or second Thursdays of the month. And they do a really good job about marketing that. They have flyers and things to put out. But you get a good preview of all the creative activity that's happening down here. In most restoration scenes, like downtown Monroe and other communities across the nation, typically artists roll in first to these blighted or dilapidated areas, and then they bring that creative stuff. I'm not creative, but I know a lot of folks that are. I like to try to surround myself with those people because they give me really good ideas, and it'll tweak my projects down the street. And I will steal every idea I can to make my project a little bit better. And all that really is derived from art. We have downtown art festivals. My wife was one of the co-chairs of the big art festival that they have. And I guess they're still having that now, aren't they? The Downtown Art Fest? Yeah. A great event incorporates families, fun, and art, our local artists, and bringing again attention back to downtown Monroe. That, coupled with some of the other stuff that's happening, like our brown bag concerts, which happen in the spring and fall. They happen over here in front of St. Francis in the big park. Then you have, of course, the River Jam, which I think is kicking off here in about April, maybe? June, okay. But great musical artists playing right over here in our little park on the corner of Walnut and Missouri. So a lot of activity all starting with our artists. I think that's sort of the catalyst for our discussion tonight is that art sort of transcends into economic development in some form or fashion. We have things that are called cultural districts, too, in this area. A cultural district is just a zone that is recognized by our state to basically create culture, to create art, to bring in art, but there are also economic incentives tied with that. If you sold an original work of art in a cultural district, they're taxed on that art. So artists, whether they're utilizing that economic tool or not, can come down, set up shop, sell their artwork, and you get a 10% discount. You don't have to pay local or state sales taxes. Great deal, right? Well, even more than that, there's economic benefits for developers in cultural districts. So the cultural district basically goes from the Endham Bridge down all the way just under 6th Street or the overpass as you're going down to 0th Street. And it goes to Washington Street and then all the way over to Harrison, which is the street behind us over here. So it's about an 8-block area. If you develop in a cultural district as a developer, there are tax credits. And so I can go out and apply and say my building is historic in nature, if it has some historical elements, and if it complies with the national standards that the Department of the Interior sets, then you would be eligible for 25 cents on the dollar for every dollar you invest in a cultural district historic significant property on the dollar to return back to you in the form of some type of a tax credit at the state level. On the federal level, worst case scenario, you'll get back 10% if the building was built pre-1936 on any historic structure. As long as it's not used for residential purposes, it's commercial purposes. Either up to qualify for 20% on the dollar in a cultural district, in a federal district. It's a federally recognized historic district. So, a bunch of tax credits. So if anybody pays taxes in here, it's an opportunity if you want to buy an old building, fix it up, and reduce your tax liability. I love it. I love not to have to pay the IRS. Riverfront Commission, numbers of groups that are working to improve what's going on in downtown Monroe. You'll hear about Downtown Monroe Partnership, which is sort of a conglomeration of all these groups that basically meet on a once or will meet on a monthly or quarterly basis to coordinate, to talk about what projects are happening with each other. Because you have governmental entities that are working in downtown Monroe. You have the City of Monroe, you have the Downtown Economic Development District, you have the Riverfront Commission, you have the Downtown Monroe Renaissance, and people start saying, what are all these groups doing? Well, each one has a little bit different role. One of those roles with the Riverfront Commission is strictly to focus on economic development as a governmental entity on the river. So from the Children's Museum, the warehouse, all the way down to where Howard Griffin used to be, or past the river market, that's what the Riverfront Commission focuses on. And it's a group of volunteers that do absolutely nothing but try to figure out ways the government can improve those areas by looking for governmental grants, by working with the city and municipalities, by coordinating people and efforts, by looking at taxing instruments that can help improve those areas. So sales taxes, a little bit of them may pour back into redevelopment for infrastructure along the river. The Downtown Economic Development Group is a governmental agency, but they're over the entire mass of downtown Monroe, bringing back everything. They're not just focused on the river, they're focused on all of downtown Monroe. Their role as a governmental entity, again, is a lot like the Riverfront Commission: infrastructure, development work, coordinating projects, and making sure that everybody's working to improve downtown Monroe, even from a policy standpoint, working with your local city councils and looking at ordinances and things that will help create a better venue for economic development. And then you have Monroe Renaissance. Monroe Renaissance is a non-profit organization, basically a group that can go out and fundraise. When you and I, we write them a check, they get a tax-deductible donation, and Monroe Renaissance then can work with DED, with the Riverfront Commission, and other groups to take those dollars and invest them back in downtown Monroe to try to create these projects, whether it's buying planters from the street or paying engineering fees to help with this project or that project. And there are a lot of projects going on. We had a DED meeting this afternoon for lunch, and we talked about some of the engineering that's coming for the potential to widen Zier Street and parking back on Zier Street, something that we think is going to be critical for the long-term development of downtown Monroe. To look at new lighting, to look at better lighting, to look at grants and so forth that would help enhance these enhancement grants, to look at adding a potential walkway on the edge of the river to the Riverfront Commission, where on a Saturday after you finish the river market, you can walk up and down the riverfront or exercise or ride a bike or take the kids out there and have some fun, enjoy the aesthetics of the river. So all these groups are working to a lot of different points, but the main point is to enhance downtown Monroe. And in just a minute, when I turn you guys over so I can ask you some questions, I need y'all's help and feedback on how we can better communicate so everybody knows what's happening with these different groups, with Riverfront Commission, with DED, with Renaissance, and again, all these other groups are working together because we're trying to do a better job as volunteers to communicate to you. So one, you want to be a part of it, and whether you come and write a check one day to Renaissance because you love what's happening in downtown Monroe, or you write a check to the Arts Alliance Group because they're doing great stuff with arts and bringing back cultural influences downtown, or whether you want to be on a committee that helps work with our government leaders to influence the development or the speeding up of widening the Zier Street and bringing back some of our storefronts. Before we do that, though, I want to talk about some of the success stories that have happened. I hope you can switch slides in just a second. I'm I'm going to be selfish and show you one of my old buildings. This is that building that I walked into and made an offer on the cup. Of course, boarded up, didn't look too pretty, but I could tell there was sort of a diamond in the rough when I saw this and the other properties I bought on the left-hand side of the street. Go to the next slide. Well, this is another great development project. Melody Olson, who's a developer, bought this property some years ago and turned it into high-end condominiums. The gray building with the red on the left. It is an amazing example of what you can do with restoration and take and repurpose a facility that formerly didn't have any comparison to what it is today. And now I think there are 2 apartments per floor. I think they have a few units left, not many though. They've sold most of those units, but she did a great job. Melody actually lives on the top floor, and probably one of the best views in town. If you ever have a chance during an art crawl or any Christmas events, she opens the place for tours sometimes. Go check it out. Awesome place to visit, and I think it would be an even better place to live. See what we get next, Nate. This is another success story. I get to work with Vantage Health Plan and Affinity Health. Vantage has been in downtown Monroe for about 6 or 7 years now. They saw an opportunity way back when to come down and buy some buildings that they were in dire need of help, and the downtown area was delighted for the most part, especially along the Desert Street area, and bring more bodies back into downtown Monroe. Since then, Vantage has improved. I think it collectively 4 buildings. The tower over here, which is about 11 or 12 stories, where the Lowe's Club is, and a lot of office space. We consume about 90% of that office space with our employees. This building beside it, which was the former Monroe building in Long, is now a retail pharmacy. If you haven't had a chance to go in, I've got some of my friends over here that have this floor here that head on over to it and have coffee, and you get your prescription medications and so forth. But great coffee shop, great cappuccinos. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I'll even drink the stuff over there. It's really, really good stuff. But you also get the prescription medications, and for folks that are living in downtown Monroe, it's a great resource for them to drive across the street, go to the pharmacy. Right next door to it is a physician's office, so medical care is being taken care of along with St. Francis. So if something else happens, you can get on down the street to St. Francis. But everybody's working together in the medical community, and a lot of good things are happening because of projects like this. We do have some pictures of these buildings before, and give us a shot on that one. This is what it looked like before inside that pharmacy. From a historic preservation standpoint, the Department of the Interior wants you to maintain significant structures within a historic structure. And the vault door happened to be one of those structures. All the other walls were dilapidated and crumbling, so we saved the safe. And if you'll notice in the middle of the picture, this is that building today. This is what the pharmacy looks like in the coffee shop. Those are some of our pharmacists. But you'll notice that vault door is still back in the back in the center. It doesn't work. It is sealed. But it's just a cool architectural feature. These are some of the fun things we get to do. This is where that art sort of inspires economic development, where you can have that good, healthy mix and create that past culture thing that are floating around. All right, let's go to the next one and see what we get. This was a building. I didn't buy this building overnight. This building took me, this block of property took me months and months and months to buy. Because the guy that was in there, he was still cooking barbecue up until the last day when he walked out. And bless his heart, he didn't have any customers. And the 4 months I talked to him, I saw 2 people go in there the whole time, and they left rapidly. It's just because the building had gone into a great deal of disrepair. He's a great guy. He's deceased now. He passed away this year. But I acquired this building from him, and it needed a lot of work. I don't think you can find the next one to show sort of before and after. Again, another example of repurposing a 1920s structure, trying to maintain some of the historical elements, the transoms that were there. 2 of them were still there, and they wanted me, from a historic standpoint, to replace and match, so went and had them recreate these historic transoms and replace windows and different things. So if you ever restore a historic building, just plan on spending 25% more of whatever you're budgeting. Because that is the average when you restore one of these old buildings. The building next to it, I basically gutted it and got it ready. We're going to redo the front facade the next few weeks to get on that. And I've talked to a whole bunch of folks, guys. I get 4, 5, 6, 7 calls a week now, whereas used to I didn't get a call a month on these properties of different restaurateurs, retail shops, and different entrepreneurs that want to move downtown. And the biggest thing that you guys can do for me tonight as you leave is go and tell people, hey, there's stuff happening downtown Monroe, and we need good entrepreneurs to come down here. We need retail desperately. I think that's our next big move where we got to go and bring in some more retail. We have plenty of corporate now. We have plenty of more bodies coming to the buildings, but the question is, what are they going to do at 5 o'clock? Well, they want to go eat at 5. They want to go eat at 5. And I challenge you to go to either one of those restaurants at noon or at 5 or 6 o'clock at night and packed. And it's only going to get bigger and better. We have about 5,000 people in any given day working in this area. And they have 3 or 4 choices to eat. That's it. They want more choice than that. Folks, here we get next. River Market. And Adrian's here, so she can probably talk all night about it. I think we've interviewed before, talked about the River Market and its success. Can you show the picture of just the rendering of what the River Market was going to look like? Okay. This was a picture that I believe Melody, one of her artist friends, sort of sketched out on paper. And this sort of came to our group, Monroe Renaissance. And Melody was really one of the people that pushed this thing over the edge because we had these dollars that were sitting out there in the state. They had been sitting there for about 7 or 8 years, and we were about to lose them. They're capital outlay dollars. And you don't use this money, it just disappears. So Melody lit a fire for some folks. She had this little picture drawn up. And then, of course, maybe I'll go to the next picture. And now you see what that little drawing turned into. It only turned into that because of folks like Adrian and Myra and other people and some great architects to develop this structure and to really surpass what people's expectations were. I don't know who in here has been to the River Market. Everybody else has to go. That's your duty. First, second week of April when you guys have April 14th. April 6th. April 6th, that's y'all's job. That's your challenge to go to the River Market. But the first day, they had somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 people show up to this. And the cool thing about the River Market and how this is successful in other downtowns across America, the River Market is an economic tool. And it's not just to sell stuff right there. What it's doing is planting seeds. You're going to start to see people from the River Market that take their food, that take their goods, whatever they're manufacturing, and they're going to come and start renting stores on Desire Street and other parts of downtown Monroe. That's going to feed that micro enterprise into a major enterprise. And I talk to artists and people that are doing products all the time, and they're saying, look, we're selling our stuff. This has been the best thing because it's doing more to promote business for our stores across town or my personal business where I can grow. So that is a success story and will continue to be a success story on so many levels. And really, it was beyond most people's expectations. And so you guys are going to do a great job this year, I know, because you're incorporating more wine, art, food, shows, stuff, more fireworks. As we work with the downtown development groups, and we work with the Riverfront Commission as the Renaissance and the nonprofit, we're going to host more fireworks downtown 4th of July. We're going to be having fireworks out here, I believe, on that Saturday following 4th of July is the plan. First Saturday in December, we'll have another up on the rooftop party combined with the River Market that Saturday, combined with the 9 or 10 other things that are going on. One of the most impressive things to me was by us starting to collaborate and work together, we saw everybody show up. We had 15,000, 20,000 people in downtown Monroe on a December night, a couple thousand up on the rooftop party, many more thousands down walking up and down the street at the River Market, and thousands more lined up and down the levees to watch the fireworks. It's probably one of the best fireworks shows we've had. So these are all baby steps. This isn't just monumental change. This is people figuring out how to work together and good things finally coming from that. Let's see what we get next, though. I mentioned before some of the tax credits at the state and federal level. You don't have to be in a cultural district to get tax credits, although we are in a cultural district right here on Desire Street. If you're in a federally recognized historic district, we're also in a state recognized historic district. In Monroe, there are 3. There's one in the Garden District, and there's 2 in downtown Monroe. One stretches as far back as the National Museum. The other encompasses some of the Warehouse District over here in the just north of us. So if you're in either one of those zones, any one of the historic districts that have commercial properties, you can be eligible for the tax credits that come along with that. Another great benefit of buying some of these historic buildings is there's a tax abatement process you can do. So you can lock in your property taxes. If you bought a building for $100,000, say it's a 40,000 square foot building, you can lock in your property taxes for 5 to 10 years at that $100,000 level value. And that's a tool or incentive for developers because you're going to go and spend precarious amounts of money, remember that 25% plus all the other hundreds of thousands you're going to spend. You can lock in those property taxes. So it'll save a few extra $1,000. And really, when you get up to a big enough project, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, it starts to add up. I don't need projects that are that big. Mine are smaller, 2,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 square foot buildings. But other developers like Melody and other developers like Matt Sanderson are certainly delving off on projects that are historically significant and very valuable from a tax credit standpoint. I want to mention some of the businesses that have made that investment in downtown Monroe. Of course, Jay Howell with what was now Cotton and Corey Bear. Jay and his father owned that building, and they sort of took a leap of faith about 6 or 7 years ago and bought that old property and really brought it back together. It's been 2 restaurants since then, most recently Cotton, and it's a phenomenal example of quality historic preservation. Matt Sanderson acquired the Swift Foods, used to be a commercial meat packing place where they drive up, unload cows, and pack up whatever frozen goods you got and send it all back down the rail. This used to be a major hub for economic activity on the rail and the water. So he's now has that. It's going to be called Cantina and Rail, driven by a Mexican restaurant. They're going to open, I believe, next week officially. So now have Mexican food downtown. Man, if I just had a nice couple of boutiques down here, I had everything I need. All the healthcare I need, the pharmacy, Mexican food, and some shops. What else you need? Well, at any rate, lots of good stuff is happening because of the river market, because of these restaurants, because of some business owners that are coming down here and making that development. Rain, bringing a lot of retail presence in downtown Monroe, full high spa, hair, all that other stuff. But I've even been in there and utilized the services, and they do a top-notch job. You're going to start to see more retail load come in. I'm talking to retailers. I'm in Melody, and other folks are talking to retailers. And there are a few other big announcements that are on the way. And you guys are going to hear about those, I think, in the next 3 to 6 months. Major companies tell you about some major investment that they're making down here. From Vantage's standpoint, we're about to renovate our tower that's on 130th Street. Our bottom floor, we're going to have a very enhanced ballroom. Because most people that do weddings and other large events need a large space. And we've had them sharing 2 spaces. We're actually going to expand one of our ballrooms. The other side's going to be closed off. And then on the top floor, we're going to be building a full-service restaurant. One is an incentive for Vantage employees to go and eat, but also for others that come downtown and want to get a high end with some bistro and healthy food. Because we are a health company, it's going to be healthy. So no liquor, no fatty food. We'll have good choices for you and great food. We'll also have a broadcast studio in that facility, which will have the likes of Linda Palm and other entertainers and the community that will come out and we'll broadcast some shows on local radio stations. So it'll be a cool place to come and hang out and have a good time. There's so much more going on downtown Monroe. A lot of the folks that are here can tell you about those because they're working on some of those projects, whether it's folks in Thompson or St. Francis or the River Market or people that live down here. A lot of great things. So maybe I can open up in just a moment and talk about some questions, and I have some questions.